Now, every now and then a car comes along that really returns a manufacturer to its greatest form. And you could argue that the Aston Martin V8 that came out in 2005 really was Aston doing what Aston did best, not only making an absolutely beautiful car with a V8 engine, but then putting it in all sorts of race series and having wonderful success with it. This, I could argue, is probably one of the nicest, best proportions, easiest to own Aston Martins that money can buy. And this particular one is perhaps the nicest example that I have ever seen. You've seen an Aston Martin V8 before, but I guarantee you've not seen one like this. And why do I know that? Because this particular car is one of one. So let me tell you more. Picture the problem, if you will. You've made a few quid, you're very successful, you have a wonderful car collection, and you don't want to go down to your local Aston Martin dealer and buy the same V8 that everybody else has got. What do? What you do is you go directly to the factory themselves and say, I would like you to build me 007 distinct, unique racing collection Aston Martin V8s. And this is one of those cars. Each one was built in an evocative racing livery colour. This was the Nürburgring bright blue, which I think is absolutely fabulous. It's called Elwood blue. And each one was done absolutely uniquely to make them the most exceptional, most collectible Aston Martins in the world. Now, this is 007 of 007, so if you really do love the Bond collection and connection, this is the car for you. But I personally think that Elwood blue is the best of all the colours, and you can't argue this car isn't distinctive. You can't argue the fact that you wouldn't lose this car in a car park. But not only is it one of one, and one of the 7 racing collection, this car has only done just over 600 kilometres. So what you're buying here, ladies and gentlemen, is almost a brand new car. But if you think it's nice outside, wait to see what's under here. Now, there's a few notable things about this V8, because obviously they were trying to homologate the car for racing and make it the ultimate road car. Where they've put everything is quite clever. First of all, you'll notice about the engine, it's very far back. It's what we call a front mid-engine. In other words, the mass of the engine sits behind the front axle. Interestingly as well, it sits extraordinarily low. The way they've managed to do this is to use the dry sump system, basically giving it a much shallower sump, so the engine can sit another inch or so lower down. So the engine is very far back, very low down. Perfect for weight distribution. This was all basically to set the car up for racing, but it makes it a phenomenal drive on the road. Interestingly as well, the early cars were launched with the 4.3. They were the N400s. These later cars were the ultimate development. These were the N420s. So 420 bhp from a larger displacement and better sounding engine. This is one of the first and potentially the first N420 to be made. These were ordered ahead of the production for the normal cars that hit the showrooms. Because this was a special order, these were granted access to the better engine much earlier on in the model's development cycle. So what you're getting here is a very unique package and something happening ahead of time for select customers. Now, what does that mean performance-wise? It means it's one of the quickest cars that they made. It's a very lightweight car, the V8, for what it is. And with that performance, 420 horsepower, it's a true supercar, despite the fact what you've actually got is a GT. It's very usable, very drivable, but as you'll see, a very big boot. Yeah, a big boot. Does anyone ever buy a car like this for practicality? Probably not. But what's nice about the V8 over its contemporaries, say like the 911, or some of the supercars that it could quite easily keep up with, you do have an enormous boot. It will take 2 suitcases in the back. Let's be honest, this is probably a collector quality car. It's probably going to spend most of its time in an air-conditioned garage. But if you do want to use it, if you do want to take it out for high days and holidays, or a nice weekend away, or a touring holiday, you can fit your cases in. Now, we need to talk about the interior. The interior on this car is absolutely remarkable. And I might say, if you're shy or retiring, or you don't want to get into conversation with people at Cars and Coffee or petrol station, this is probably not the car for you. Now, it's built to Swiss specification in here, so it really is rather nice. It's got everything you could possibly want: climate, heated electric seats, all of the audio entertainment that you like. What I particularly love is the fact that it's still got a CD player. It was still the era of CDs. And the fit and the finish on a bespoke vehicle, as you might imagine, is wonderful. Now, everything on this car is bespoke, and because of the low mileage, almost everything on this car feels like absolutely brand new. Now, the smell in here is heavenly. If you want that just tannalized leather smell, if you want it to smell like it's just come out of the showroom, you're going to get that with this car. Custom Alcantara headliner as well. And you'll notice me at 6'4" and I'm all leg. The V8, despite being quite a small diminutive car, if you are a larger lady or gentleman, you will fit in here. You will be able to do a lot of miles. And I've driven a few of these and they are wonderful Grand Tourers. They are really what the name suggests. The perfect thing to cover a load of miles. What I love about this though, this is a brave choice. I do think if you're buying a silly car, let's face it, this is quite a silly car, buy it in a silly colour, buy it in a silly colourway, have some fun with it. We've got the rest of our lives to drive grey, black, boring cars. If you're buying a sports car, if you're buying a GT, if you're buying a baby supercar, buy it in a silly colour. Every now and then in car collecting, an opportunity comes along, an opportunity to buy something that's unique, it's collectible, potentially investable, and best of all, that nobody else has. And today, if you're watching this video, today is that day. This is a car that you can buy, I think will be an appreciating asset simply because of how beautiful it is, the part it plays in Aston Martin's competition history. And in the case of this particular car, the Elwood Blue V8, there isn't another one. Imagine a car that you can turn up at any car meet, any cars and coffee, and you are the only one there. And in car collecting, that really is the holy grail. The car, as you'd expect, is perfect. It's not a chip, not a mark, on top or underneath. She is as she left the factory and ready for you to enjoy, to tuck away, or just do whatever you want. Either way, I think it's exceptional value. And as we say in the trade, find me another.